Hey, what's up? Today's video, we're going to be going over the top 5 hashtag 2017 champions. Um, this video was also very tough to make, or this list, I should say. As you can see, there are a lot of great champions here, and this list is very competitive. I would say this year overall is one of the better years we have covered. Overall, there are a lot more champions here that are in today's current day that are very meta relevant. Um, Other years don't really have that. They have like one or two that I believe are used today, and the rest are kind of like eh. But I believe almost all of the top 5 you can use in today's game, excluding one spot. We'll talk about it then. But yeah, if you like this idea, please comment down below. Like, subscribe, do all that. And we'll continue the series. We have done one, two, three. We have done 4 of these, and we still have like 8 or 9 to go. So if you guys want to see this continue, please let me know because the champions are starting to ramp up. We're starting to get to the great years worth of champions. But yeah, let's go ahead and start off with our honorable mentions as always. 3 champs. I will say this was very tough, and like last video, these honorable mentions could easily be in the top 5. I just haven't had the personal experience of playing with them very much to put them there. But starting off, our honorable mentions is actually one of the OG best champions ever, and it's Blade. Blade nowadays is just very outdated in my opinion. But back then, he was busted. He was one of the best champions in the game by far. He still is a very great champion today. Sammy, I believe, MCOC, makes great content. I don't know if I butchered his name. Sorry, I do know his name is at least Sammy. But he makes great content on Blade. He has an R5 Blade, and he took up Stellar Forge Blade too. So if you want to see some good Blade gameplay, go over there. But he's just very, very solid. He has good utility, good damage. It's nothing crazy. In today's game, if this champion would have launched, people would think it's very lackluster. He's got a pretty simple kit. It was definitely made for back then, and they changed the game around this guy. He was very, very great. He was so good back then. They had to change the game around him. I will say, if you're not fighting with Danger Sense, the fight does seem to go a little bit longer, but it would be busted if he had Danger Sense in every single fight like the new Blade does. But yeah, I want to give an honorable mention to Blade, one of the OG GOATs, and one of the founding 4 of the contest, it feels like. But next, in my honorable mentions list, is actually Angela. So Angela is another champion that is just absolutely amazing. A very, very solid character. It is used very often in today's meta. Some of my uh, alliance mates in war use Angela every single war on certain nodes. She is very, very great for hazard shift. Because she removes debuffs very, very quickly. She's very, very great for incursions. One of the best champions. She's just a very, very solid champion, and she still holds up to today. I just don't have her at that highest level, and I've not used her at that highest level in so long. I will say the one thing that holds her back is her specials do no damage. I don't know why, but her specials do absolutely no damage. I've never understood this, but her specials do not seem to be scaled correctly. Maybe there is a reason for this, but a lot of champions, once you ramp up, you do all your damage with specials. She's kind of the opposite. You don't really want to use specials except to stay in certain phases, because depending on your power level is what depends on which buff you get. And that being said, you want to be in certain power level ranges to get your Furies and armor ups or whatever. But yeah, her specials don't do very much damage, and it's kind of weird. They do apply armor breaks though, which is very, very nice. But Angela is an OG GOAT as well, and she is still very, very solid in today's meta. If you have a maxed out Angela, you are doing insane things, and she is very, very full of utility. But yeah, now our final spot in the honorable mentions list. Some people might hate this, but this is where I'm going to put him, and it is actually Iceman. So, I'm a little bit lower on Iceman than everybody else. I do believe Iceman is a very, very good champion, and I am very happy that he's in the game and he's in a good spot. I just, I don't find him to be the most flashy and insane character there is out there. I've just always been a little bit lower on Iceman. That's just me personally. He does look cool and his animations are sick, throwing the ice at him, but he just he's very crit reliant. You obviously want crits, but that's most mutants in the game. I couldn't put him in the top 5, even though he is probably one of the best defenders, just for the simple fact his Sig ability just applies a Cold Snap right off the rip, and you just take damage. You can't really get around that unless you're immune to Cold Snap. But yeah, I believe Iceman is a very solid character, and if you have him in this top 5, I have no problems with it. Any of these 3 characters you can put in the top 5, there'd be no issues. He's a very, very solid character in today's meta. I do believe he can be an ascendable character. I believe he is very warranted for Ascension. But that being said, let's go ahead and hop into our top 5 characters. So, a little weird, but I'm going to put him here. And it is actually Archangel. So, the thing with Archangel is, if he was a 7-star, he would be absolutely busted. He's just amazing. He is one of the highest damage dealing characters in the game, as long as they can be bled or poisoned. If they can be bled and poisoned, you're doing absolutely insane damage with the neurotoxins. And with the Sig ability, you apply ability action reduction with those neurotoxins. So fun fact, he was one of the best Dark Phoenix counters in the game when she first launched. This was before rank 4s were very common. There was probably 2 rank 4s in everybody's decks, maybe 3. It was actually around today's time where rank 5s are very, very scarce. This is about the meta last year where rank 4s were very, very scarce. And he was one of the best for Dark Phoenix because you could reduce the ability actually of the Nova Flame. So you could basically take no damage throughout the fight, and you could sometimes fail the death immunity, which was absolutely insane. So you could just nuke him down because she can be poisoned and bled. I do believe he is warranted a 7-star spot. I believe it is time for a 7-star, and I can see Archangel becoming a 7-star today, and that would only just increase his stocks. The reason he is number 5 on this list is just because he is a 6-star locked, but he is still a very, very solid champion. You just spam heavies. That's all the kit is, and you have to get very good RNG. That is one thing that holds him back, but you just spam heavies, get good RNG, and you win the game. Very, very simple kit to play. You don't even ever have to throw a special, but yeah, that's Archangel for you. I believe he is the 5th best champion by far. Next up, I went back and forth with this, but I'm going to go ahead and put him here, and it is actually Yondu. So, I kind of have been disrespecting Yondu. I'm not going to lie. I did not know Yondu was as good as he was, but I have watched Seaton's gameplay. I've watched other gameplay on Yondu. He's actually insane. He is a ramp-up champion throughout the fight, so that just means longer health pools, bigger health pools. He's going to be great for, but he's also pretty solid for these shorter nuke health pools. He applies Ruptures, which is very, very great, because there's very few Rupture characters, Rupture immune characters in the game, that is. And that just means his damage is just very consistent. You're always going to be able to apply that damage. He's also a tank, and not in the common sense that he has armors, but actually the quite opposite. You apply weaknesses to the opponent, so you can take a lot of damage. And he's actually a very, very solid defender, just because he does apply those weaknesses and those stifles to keep you from gaining a lot of power. And he has ruptures that he applies on his block. Anytime you crit, you apply a rupture, and I believe he can crit through block, so he applies those ruptures through block. So if you parry him and you take one of those ruptures, you're taking a lot of damage. So he is a very, very solid defender. And I really, really like his buff. I really would like to take him to the highest level and get him as a 7-star. I obviously don't have him as a 7-star. But yeah, Yondu is a very, very great character and a very underrated character in my opinion. Next up, number 3 spot is actually Medusa. Medusa, another character I have slept on for the longest time. But she is insane. The great thing about her, too, you just get her awakened and she's just good. Her awakened ability is you just have a chance to remove any stun effects, and it's just, you don't need it. You just need the Sig 1. You don't need her max Sig. That's what makes her great. Oops. You don't need her max Sig. You just want her awakened, and she's absolutely amazing. Her kit is very, very simple to play. You just want to apply that armor shatter by applying a certain amount of armor breaks. You get the armor shatter, launch a big SP2, so on and so forth, repeat the cycle. That's all it is. Very, very simple kit to play. She has auto block, which is very, very annoying to deal with on defense. She's actually not a bad defender because she has that auto block mechanic. So you want to bring in a mystic counter to remove those furies. But that being said, she's a solid 2-way champion. Very, very great damage. And I would love to see her ascend. I believe she's another character that you could ascend, and she would do great things with it. But yes, Medusa is a very, very great champion. Has always been a great champion, honestly, and that buff just helped her even more. She was the OG character you wanted to bring in for robots because she would just nuke down robots. But yeah, that being said, Medusa, a very, very solid character, and I'm very happy she got a buff, and she is just better than she was, even though she already was great. So that leaves 2 spots left. And the second spot, you probably will disagree with me. You probably think he should be 1, but I'm a little biased on the first spot, and my bias does take precedence here. And number 2 is actually Kingpin. So, of course, I have Kingpin at the highest level. I have him at rank 4. I don't remember what his Sig is, but he is an amazing, amazing character. He is such a great attacker. He is a solid defender, but once again, just such a great attacker. The way he can purify debuffs and turn them into rage stacks to turn them into fury buffs is such a great playstyle. Any annoying side character that applies a lot of debuffs, he's gonna cook no matter what. And he's quite a bit of a tank too. He does take some damage. He can take some damage and live, but Kingpin's just a very, very solid character to play. And there's nothing more fun than just launching it heavy and just bumping him with your stomach. That is pretty fun. But I could not put him at the one spot. I love the one spot so much, but Kingpin is just right there. And honestly, he probably should be one. But Kingpin has just been a staple of the game. Ever since he launched, he's just been that character you want to get. He's just been solid throughout. I don't think he's ever received a buff. I think he just kind of launched like this, and it's always just been very, very solid damage. So yeah, you just punch the opponent, do damage, and on defense, he's just kind of annoying because he removes debuffs very, very easy, so it's hard to stun him and counter him. And he goes on block ball and specials once he gets enough debuffs on him. He gets that overpowered. So yeah, great utility, great damage, and solid on defense. But nothing can beat the number one spot. You all probably look at this list, and you all probably realize who the number one spot is. It is, of course, Stark Spidey. I could say so many things about Stark Spidey. For one, it's Spider-Man. I mean, who doesn't love Spider-Man? One of my favorite heroes. Two, an amazing, amazing kit. One thing about him is he's not that great on defense. He can catch you actually on defense with the evade. That is kind of annoying, but a lot of Spider characters are like that in the game. There's a lot of Spider characters on defense better than him, but he is just so good on attack. His numbers on attack are absolutely insane. When I max ramp him, all it takes is 10 dexes. You have to dex 10 different attacks. And you are max ramp, and you just keep dexing attacks throughout the fight, and you stay at that max ramp. I forget how good he is every single time, but 30k mediums are nothing for a 7-star rank 4 Spider-Man. I believe a rank 5 Spider-Man max ramp class advantage does like 50k mediums crits. That is nuts, and you're critting all the time with the Sig ability. You really want him max Sig, or the highest Sig you can possibly get him. Kind of same with Kingpin, though. But yes, Spider-Man is such a great character. It has always just been a great character. He is a staple of the game, and I can't wait till he enters the base pool so more people can achieve this Spider-Man because he is just a great character. And I could say more about him, but you all know Spider-Man. But yeah, that is the hashtag 2017 champions I believe we are on now. Please let me know down in the comment section below if you want me to continue the series, what you liked, and the question of the day, what is your least favorite defender to fight? Comment down below what your least favorite defender to fight is. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.